Hello, buenos dias. This is Alex K from Barcelona, and I am here with a very special guest. She's an amazing singer and composer from the UK. Actually, she's one of my favorite singers in the world. Maybe you know of her, maybe you don't, but let me tell you a little bit about Olivia Broadfield. Some of her songs have been featured on TV shows like Grey's Anatomy, Melrose Place, Vampire Diaries, Ghost Whisperer, so you can imagine how good she is. Actually, also she worked with Guy Sigsworth, the very same guy who produced songs from Madonna, Alanis Morissette, Seal, Britney Spears, so she's very, very good. And I decided to invite her because I think that musicians and entrepreneurs, we have a lot in common. We create things. We start from scratch, just from an idea, and we make something valuable to the world. And we have a lot in common, and I know that you will find very inspiring the interview with her. So, usually my English is kind of broken, but today that I am here with one of my favorite singers in the world and I am so nervous, I hope I don't mess up the interview. So let's welcome Olivia Broadfield. Hey Olivia, how are you doing?
Hey Alex, how you doing? I don't feel worthy of that intro, to be honest.
You are amazing. And definitely I want to thank you, Olivia, for giving me the time to be here with me today and I be able to ask you a few questions. So if you are ready, let's start.
I am ready.
First of all, I would like to know, how does it feel to know that you have your songs featured on those famous TV shows? Tell me about that. How did you feel when you got to know that?
It's a weird thing. It's you're watching TV and you're like, that's me. That is. It's weird because it's just your voice. You don't see you. It's just it's your song. In some instances, with shows like Grey's Anatomy, that it's one of my favourite TV shows, and it is probably for me. The artist that I decided to be. I was very much. I love writing and I wanted to make sure that I could get my music out to as many people as possible without the, as we know as business people, without the massive costs of going out to America, which is, where my largest fan base is, and having to tour that massive country, which is not the most economical or profitable way of kind of getting yourself out there. So, getting my music on TV has been a great kind of business model for me and has gained me loads of new fans. I mean, I don't know how you personally... I think, no, you told me you were recommended on another music site to buy my album. But, a lot of people have heard of me through the TV shows. So it is, I get such a buzz every time I get, a song on TV. So, I like it.
Excellent. Do you remember that first time that you knew that your music was on TV? Do you remember that very first time?
Was the first one? I think it was. I remember when I set up my studio, I started creating music, and I think at the back of my mind, I was always kind of like, I think I should get this on TV. I had a voice that kind of suited it, a music style that kind of suited it. And I remember, I think I did about 5 or 6 songs and sent them out to some music supervisors over in America. And I think the first show I got was an MTV show called The Hills. And it was hugely exciting, and I remember finding the little clip on YouTube, because obviously being over in the UK we don't always get everything that airs in America. And it was, I guess it was the validation of, someone else has faith in the fact that I can do this. It's very difficult when you're by yourself to evaluate how good or how okay you are. And then when someone says, well, we're going to put you on TV and we'll put our, brand name next to your name in some way, you think, okay, well, I obviously can't be too rubbish, because, they're prepared to kind of stick their neck out a little bit and put my music on their show. So, that was back in 2007, I think.
Wow. I think that would be amazing.
I was very young back in 2007, Alex. I was probably like 18.
Okay, excellent. Tell me a little bit, how is the process of having a tune in your mind and from that simple tune creating a full song and then recording it and then publish it? Tell me a little bit about that process of creation.
It can be it can be amazing. It can be torturous. You know, it runs the whole range, and it can be. You know, sometimes I've sat at the piano, you know, in my lounge, and a chord has just come to me, and I've just put my fingers down, and then a melody will come to me, and I'll just start singing. And it's very rare. I'm a very weird songwriter. It's very rare that I actually write my lyrics down, and I probably shouldn't say that, but I kind of lock it all away, and quite quickly I want to come and record it, because I think there is something that you get in those first few hours almost when you write something. There's whether it's raw, whether it's a certain kind of spark, magic. So I quite quickly will come and record something, and it's not unheard of that what you hear on my album is the, you know, quickly recorded demo. There's always just something that I love about it, and I think it's that freshness. You know, it is exciting creating something.
And do you feel sometimes that you don't want to sit there at the piano? I mean, what do you do when
all the time?
Yeah, I suppose that too, because we entrepreneurs, we suffer from that every day. Every day we have so much work to do, and we just don't feel like it. We just don't want to sit there and work. What do you do to overcome that feeling and make yourself work and write and compose?
I mean, I always say that you have to get the bad stuff out. So even on the days where I can't tell you how many days I've sat here in my studio, you know, probably stared out the window for about 6 hours, you know, that day, and then throw something together and probably hate it. But I always think that you have to. It's a muscle, you know. It's a muscle that you have to strengthen and exercise. Yeah. And sometimes you might run the race in, you know, double the time, and it's rubbish. But you still have to practice and train. And it's not. Songwriting is something. Yeah, sometimes it's about a moment of inspiration. You know, they say that saying, you know, it's half inspiration, half perspiration. You know, there is that element where you just have to work at it, and it doesn't come naturally sometimes. And, you know, being your own motivator is really hard. I mean, I can't tell you how many days I wake up and I don't go to an office, and, you know, there isn't that for me to do. There's no boss, you know, there's nobody telling me get this done by these days. And you have to find it in you. And when you do what you love, I guess you draw on that a lot. You know, come on, you have your dream job, get up, do it. Even if it's rubbish, just do it. Yeah. You know, sometimes it's a case of numbers. Just do lots of songs. Some of them are going to be good.
I agree. The important thing is to start creating something and to get into action. And then later we will revise what we have to revise. But the most important thing is to take the first step, to take action.
Exactly.
And listen, I know that you as a musician and we are as entrepreneurs, we deal with many different troubles and challenges and obstacles. In your field, in your music career, what are those challenges that you have to overcome every day, besides the feeling of not wanting to sit there and write or taking action? But what are those challenges that you have to overcome as a musician?
I think as a musician these days, it is generally the state of the music industry. Everything's a double-edged sword. You know, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, they are great, you know, promotional tools, but at the same time, nobody's buying music anymore. You know, I was watching an interview with Michael Bublé on TV this morning, and he's like a huge act, you know, internationally. And he said it is hard, you know, and if someone of his kind of stature isn't selling records, there is the constant challenge of, you know, how can I dress my music up? How can I do this so that I can keep doing it, because it's going to get to the point where no records are getting sold.
And do you think that the music that you create and you put into an album, isn't that a perfect way to promote your career and get more concerts and more gigs? And don't you think that now in today's world, the album is just a promotional tool to get into concerts? What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm slightly different because it's never really been my focus. Like I said, because I'm here in the UK and my market was America, you know, I really like my life here. You know, I kind of grow my own vegetables. I've got lots of animals. I'm a bit of a hippie, really. So the concept of getting on a tour bus and dedicating 2 years of my life to gigging and doing concerts wasn't so much something that I wanted to focus on. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, the album does become the promotional tool. For me, it's become the promotional tool to send off to TV. I mean, it always surprises me, but I can have a song on Vampire Diaries and there is no, you know, I've not done any marketing around that bar by literally getting the song on the show. Mm-hmm. And it will sell thousands of copies, you know, in a very short space of time. And that's, you know, the album is the promotional tool then. I have to keep making the albums knowing that they're not going to sell. And when you talk about motivation, that is an extremely difficult thing to get your head around. Ploughing a year more of your life and your creativity and your time into recording, producing, mixing, all the things that you have to do. And knowing that, you know, knowing that nobody's really going to buy it. It's not because necessarily I'm a more independent musician. It's literally because it's the way it's going. I mean, if you take an artist like Rihanna or Lana Del Rey, you know, massive stars, you'll go onto YouTube and they will have, 100 million upwards, 200 million, 300 million hits on their records. They're not selling that many singles. You know, they're probably selling 1% of that, you know, maybe 1 million records. And that would be a huge song to sell 1 million records. And you can see, so somebody like myself who has 40,000 followers on SoundCloud, it's very respectable. But if I'm really selling to 1% of those, you can see it can be, the numbers can be a bit depressing sometimes.
Yeah. But yeah. Speaking about the work and show it to the world, tell us a little bit more about your new album. You're about to launch a new album, and I am so looking forward to buy it because I have your previous 2 albums. I bought your first one.
I know, you're the rarity that still goes out and buys it, Alex.
I am an author myself. Yeah, I am an author myself, and I know that when I find an author, a performer, any kind of artist that is doing a very good job, I support him, support her buying the job, because that's the way we can keep this going. And I'm waiting for your 3rd album to come out. And tell us about the album. And also,
you've already got it, Alex. As soon as you pledge, you get the album. So congratulations, you've already got it in your life.
I would buy twice. I wouldn't mind.
Well,
I
you
would
don't
buy
have to,
twice.
That's not good business sense, Alex. Come on.
I will offer it to a friend, but I would buy it twice. So tell us a little bit more about it and how we can support you on Pledge Music.
Well, the album is out. I know it's awful that I don't actually know, because basically when you buy it through Pledge, you get it before other people get it. It's part of the joy of going through Pledge. And basically, my whole campaign was built around a little bit about trying to do it yourself. You know, being an independent songwriter, musician, artist. So there's some pledges on there which give people the opportunity to buy, you know, a studio in a box kind of thing. Give them everything they need to start up, you know, a songwriting lesson with me. Just kind of things that hopefully inspire people to get writing, because we should all write, you know, if we can write, if we can do something, it's a great hobby to have, even if it's not going to be a career. And so I've aimed some pledges about things like that. There's lots of other things you can bid on. And I guess it's a bit like an eBay, you know, it's a kind of, you pledge on something and you get it, you know, it's kind of, it's like an Amazon just of my stuff. And the album is coming out in December, so not long now, about another 5-6 weeks time. And yeah, I think it will be. I think I feel confident in saying this. I think it's probably my best album. I mean, best is a weird word to use. I think they're probably the most intelligently crafted songs, the best writing in the songs. Right. You know, I remember I've had my first album got a bit, you know, someone called it Sonic Wallpaper, and which, you know, is fair enough. That may be what it was. So I think I've grown, which you just do by age and by experience. You develop. So I think, so yeah, if people want to support it, I urge them to, because I mean, obviously I benefit from that, but I think it's an interesting thing, this pledge. I encourage people, you know, it's basically the music version of Kickstarter, and maybe I think your audience will have heard a lot about Kickstarter.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's basically, it's the music equivalent of that. It's basically funding me to make sure that I can make more albums, in essence. You know, I've made this album, and I'll always use my funds to plough straight back into making more music. And the whole catch with Pledge is that if I don't make my target, then it doesn't happen. You know, so no one gets to hear the music. So, you know, if people like my music and they can find me on SoundCloud, yeah, you know, come on, guys, you're entrepreneurs, you got loads of money, you can afford £6 to come and help me out, you know.
And I will definitely help you to promote this, because you deserve it, and I really want that you keep doing music, because you are very good at it. Thank you, because I love your music, and you definitely have to keep going. And I will tell all my audience to go there and support you. And I even will throw a gift from me to them, and I will let you know, guys, who are watching this interview right now. So if you are watching this on YouTube, you will find here below on the description what you will get from me, from Alex K, for supporting Olivia Bradfield on Pledge Music. So Olivia, again, thank you very much for being here with me today in the Action Entrepreneur interview series, and I wish you all the best.
Oh, thank you, Alex. I wish you and all your viewers the best too.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.